and the top 10 rounded out by Charlie Hart. Gustavo Xavier taking a first pole position of the season in Pro-Am, and the best of the AMs, Max Kronberg, and that is a third pole of the year for him in a pretty impressive 19th overall. You can see how busy it is. The Lotus, though, only 37, so Stefano Daste having problems, ending up behind Ajith Kumar's Porsche. Victor Bouveng 35th in the end, having lost 2 flying laps. So it's a rather jumbled grid. There are people out of position, which is going to make it interesting, I think, when we go racing.
Yeah, Daste must have lost 2 of his laps, because we saw it on track looking good and fast. And again, just the penalty of track limits there. And it's a big penalty with a 38-car grid, isn't it? You now start 37th place, and that's going to make it very difficult in race 1.
It is indeed, as then now the drivers are on track, ready for the first part of Q2. So you get lots of mileage on the Thursday in the test, and on Friday with the free practice and the pre-qualifying periods. And then when it's the actual qualifying session, you've got to get it turned on quickly. 20 minutes as a session, but only 10 minutes for the 2 segments, if you like. So silvers get 10 isolated minutes, then there's that blend lap, and then the other 10 minutes given over to the Pro-Ams and the AMs. People busily working to try and get the warmth into the tyres here.
Yeah, and it's such a fine balance getting these tyre prep right. And as a driver, you need to commit quite early to either 1 prep lap, so you out-lap push, or 2 prep laps. If you go halfway between it, you compromise all of it. And it does look like the quicker strategy in Q1 was to do 2 prep laps. So you've done your out-lap, you're going to do another chill lap. And I think that's where the elite McLaren of Raskin was strong. His first push lap was only a 1 minute 57, so 17 seconds off. But it seemed to allow the tyre to last a bit longer and give it a better peak. Let's see if that's a strategy learned from any others.
Can you actually hurt the tyre by bringing it in too soon, and in what sense?
Massively, because if you push too hard, the surface, the compound gets hot, but the pressure isn't there.
Right.
So the tyre will stay soft, so it just wallows around, but the tyre grip's like, well, I'm ready, and it feels like it wants to pull the tyre off the rim, and you just don't get the stability. And then when the stability's there, the compound's gone off. So you need both pressure and tyre surface temp at the same time, and they don't warm up at the same rate. That's the problem.
So let us see who is going to come out on top then, as you look there at Alex Papadopoulos, winner here last year with Luke Ibanez, and he's managed to get himself some clear track space, hasn't he, in that NM Racing Team Mercedes. Others getting ready for the second part of qualifying. The Lotus will be set ready, and so also the other cars from Pro-Am and AM.
And interestingly, this second session, which the Lotus will take part in 7 minutes 5 seconds, they get a slight advantage because those brakes are so hot now, 500-600 degrees. They radiate into the rims. So they can actually bleed some of the tyre pressure out just before they go out. The minimum tyre pressure, 1.4 bar, stipulated by Pirelli, can never be below that. So they will go. Jodie Fanning on the pit wall there. Bit of a death symbol there, the old throat slit. Maybe no radio communications or something. But anyway, we get the Audi of Paul Petit pushing to the line. It's actually going to be a very quick first lap straight into the 41s, and it could be that yellow flag in that sector 2. Is that the problem?
Yes, there's the elite McLaren, so that's the problem. And Mackenzie Cresswell on his out lap has come to a halt. Now, Gerald Doval, the race director, will give him, say, 30 seconds or so to try to get that car fired up again, but otherwise it's going to be a red flag, isn't it, to get that out of the way?
And who does this advantage throw to? It's the car's already done a lap, so cars now will be praying not for a red flag, because as soon as that happens, you lose it. Double wave yellow. There's no power to the car at the moment. Yeah, red flag. Yeah. So at the moment, we've only had 8 cars do a lap, and really only 2 of those representative. So Cresswell is more crestfallen, isn't he? And that was the death slit, wasn't it, to the throat there. Interesting to see what's gone wrong so early in that session.
Because you've gone from pole position, fastest car, to no power.
There's a lot of heat coming out of that car. There's a lot of heat coming out of all the cars, but you can just see the heat haze coming out the back of that engine there. I wonder if that's the issue. McLaren heavily supporting all their teams there. Saw Drew McDonald earlier in pit lane. He was chief development engineer of this car, so they will try and work out that problem. But now they've caused the red flag. They're going to lose their best lap, aren't they? So even if they get going again, they are massively, massively compromised in that regard. Dynamically, car looks fine, all 4 tyres, seems to be sat square. Again, you can just see the heat haze coming out the car. It's a very hot car. It's a hot turbo, so the turbo sits inside of the V6 there. There's actually a chimney to help get that heat out. And I remember driving this car early in development. You'd go and have a look in the engine bay, instantly lose your eyebrows. Sort of 800-900 degrees of hot gas coming out the top of it. Marshall, looking underneath, can't see anything dripping. But that is worrying in terms of the sporadic nature of that failure.
Yeah, and it's been an up and down season, hasn't it, for Elite? And they kind of had this last year. They, if you remember, had 2 cars in the championship last year, one of which was good. That was the Ratican-Leben car. And then you had the second car, which always seemed to have the bad luck. So here we are again. Poor old Elite with a pole position. And then, within 15 minutes, the car grinds to a halt.
Yeah, I'm just trying to speculate. The only thing with it being hot, potentially in the fuel rail, that fuel gets very hot when it's sat there and it actually vaporizes and it doesn't combust anymore. So maybe it's just started to cough and sputter. It almost needs to cool down to let that fuel go back to the state it should be in. But yeah, strange to just conk out that early on. And
the recovery vehicle that I thought was there has now fled. So what's all this about? Does it need a lift? Does it need to be picked up rather than towed back? Anyway, the drivers come back to the pit lane. There is Robert Consani, and yeah, it needs lifting by the look of it. So the plot thickens. Why can it not be towed? Is something seized in the transmission?
Yeah, that's the most likely option. No clutch in that car. It's a fully automatic gearbox, like a DSG in the road car version. So when it locks, there's nothing the driver can do to get it out of gear. Maybe a brake is seized on. You would normally see some tyre marks for that, and just the way it's stopped doesn't look like it's been instant. But yeah, that's going to be another 5 or 6 minutes. Looking to the rear left of the car. Sometimes you see finger trouble, don't you? The mechanic's not getting a wheel on right, but it doesn't look like that from this angle, certainly. Gives the teams another chance now for them to bleed some more tyre pressure out at least. But I do think this is a relatively big advantage for cars that got a lap time in early, of which it was really only Cassani and Signoretti anywhere in the mix.
Well, that's Mackenzie Cresswell, and that is Josh Ratican. So frustration for everybody. Josh having taken a pole position, and then, as I say, within 15 minutes, the car having this problem. Mackenzie Cresswell, new to GT racing this season, coming from GB3. And the rest of the field await the resumption of the session. But it's taking, because of the nature of this, quite a long time to retrieve the car. So having had some sort of mechanical or transmission related failure. Everybody else there in the pit lane, the Anthony Debarn, Jean-Mathieu Leandri BMW ready to go back out.
What it does do, of course, is with another outlap needed of a 10-minute session, you've got 2 outlaps in 10 minutes, so you've already lost nearly 4 minutes. And Ratican maybe not getting the idea of GT racing there, coming from single-seaters. Still looks quite happy, and that's because he's on pole position. But I don't think it's quite sunk in yet that they're probably going to be starting last in race 2.
And, of course, there's very little time to find out whether the problem is solved before he starts on pole position this afternoon, other than driving to the grid. There is Joachim Bolting getting ready to go when it's his session in the 32 Porsche. All smiles as ever under the crash helmet. But right now, we have effectively 6 minutes of Q1 to go. It's going to be a sort of 1, maybe 2 lap scramble.
Yeah, exactly. Going to have 4 minutes of the session remaining once they get going and finish that outlap. So it's going to be very hard for these drivers to get it turned on and get those tyres back up to the temperature they need. See Daniel Nielsen there getting some coaching on the fly, and that's the important part of Pro-Am racing, is always having your AM. Helston there was the fastest Pro-Am car, his teammate, just trying to help out. So again, always nice when speak the same language, both Swedish drivers in that number 2 Porsche.
And a bit of air being wafted into the car because they're hot. There's Mackenzie Cresswell, who's being brought back with the marshal back to the team in the paddock. The car will be brought to the paddock rather than the pit lane. Now, let's go to the pit lane as you see a wheel off the car there. Alex Legui is in the pit lane for us this weekend with Henrik Still first up.
Hello, sir. Hello. Wouldn't be right if I didn't have a conversation with you. First things first, what's going on here? Why have you got a white bumper?
No, I mean, Joe made yesterday a little mistake in the pre-qualifying, and yeah, so He just destroyed the bumper, and then we need to change to the white version. But I think for the next race, it will be painted.
So, is that why the car wasn't running so well during that session? It's unusual for you not to be on the top.
No, to be honest, not. I mean, yesterday, for sure, I had not the driving time which we expected. I had not the quali sim what we wanted to do because, I missed the driving time. But anyway, I was struggling a bit today. It is definitely not what we expected. We tried some things at the car. It was not working out. And, it's so tough here. It's so close. If something is not 100% on the point, it's very easy to lose a couple of tenths and you are not there anymore where you need to be.
What's the biggest challenge that Misano throws out?
I mean, the temperature is crazy. It's super hot in the cars. Also for the quali simulation or for the qualifying now. To be honest, we just have on the peak of the tire just one lap. So that means we need to have a proper warm-up procedure and bring it on the point because it's the tire is dropping already to around 5 tenths after the first lap. So it means you need to be really on the point here.
Yeah, good. All right, well, fingers crossed for a better session. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Henrik Still gives way to Joachim Bolting, and we are back in business. Now, the car's going down to the end of the pit lane, the fast lane open. We had seen, just before we heard from Henrik Still, the McLaren, as it was being lifted, a wheel lying by the side of the road. So that kind of, and again, we're speculating, but it suggests obviously that the wheel was loose, that it was too risky to bring it back because all the load was going to go onto that side of the car through the next 3 corners. Therefore stop the car. That's why it couldn't be towed, or they were reluctant to tow it because the wheel would have dropped off.
Yeah, I think as a driver, you would try and risk getting it back to try and fix it. I'd say I'd be wrong with that statement because of how quickly it fell off as soon as it was lifted. Would it have made it any further? I don't know, but now that's their qualifying done, just purely on the time, even if they could get it back as the door pops back open.
But just going back to that theory, okay, it might have fallen off on the remaining corners, but it got as far as the exit of turn 10. So it's 4.2 kilometres long. It had done, let's say, over half at least of the lap, but many of those were left-handers.
Yeah, exactly. As a driver, I'd be thinking, I've got a lot of rights here to push it back on. Yeah. I just need to nurse it through 15, and that's the last corner anyway before pit lane, so I'll definitely get back. But the team may be scared of attracting a penalty for a wheel coming loose from race control as we go back to green very efficiently. The 78 car just off track, but the clock already ticking, of course, and these drivers need to get on with it.
So it is going to be a bit harem-scarum. Henrik Still saying that you've only really got one flying lap, which is what Joe was suggesting a little bit earlier. And again, look, Team Speed Car getting the 2 Audis out early doors. There is the Paul Petit entry, rebuilt after that monster accident at Spa. Petit was on pole position at Paul Ricard. Greg Gilbert in that same car had a pole at Zandvoort. So we know it's quick. The BMWs, and they're normally cars that go well around here, out on track. Jagish Gedich drives 11, 12 ought to be Gabriele Piana now. It is. And Robert Constany's 141.323 is the first lap of any note. Big slide there by Gedich, who did a 47.9 before the stoppage. And again, you've got drivers weaving around to get the warmth into the rubber. Number 8 Audi, Paul Petit's car, brand new chassis in fairness for the weekend. If you saw the Spa second race, you'll know just how much damage was done, and it was beyond repair, confirmed by the team. So it is a new chassis, and therefore that test yesterday and Thursday, very important indeed. Number 1 Ford Mustang, Michael Haverantz now at the wheel of it, taking over from Nathan van Springel in the Grunt & Go Mustang. They sound fantastic, these cars. And the Academy Motorsport one, of course, the double winner early season, Eric Evans and Marco Signoretti winning in France and Holland.
And getting held up by the Aston. Thought he had his indicator on, looked like he was letting him go. Now the Mustang suddenly needs to check up and try and find some space as the drivers for the second part of this quali pensively wait.
Not all of them. One team have got a bit caught out by the red flag. Number 97, which is Mats Olsen, has gone out in the wrong session. So the team saying to race control, we're coming in, we'll sit that, sorry, our problem, but sorry. But seeing a load of cars going out, possibly not being on top of the red flag. So they thought, oh, better go. Cars are going out, but realising it was the wrong session. So the 97 BMW will have to come back in. I think also the Brunhagen's Toyota is in the same situation. However, the Audis push on, and there you've got then Paul Petit, let's see what he can do. It would be calmer in a sense, wouldn't it, if this could bounce back with a victory after the big disappointment and that big accident that the team had at Spa.
Yeah, and we see these Audis now running in reverse order to Q1. And do you think that's like F1? You see the lead car and then they have to swap to even out the effect of the slipstream. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but at the moment, Consani's on a much better lap in the second place Audi at the moment. This could be something very fruity. I think this is going to be a low 40 straight off the bat, and they will get time for 2 more laps. They will get the checkered flag with 10 minutes remaining on the clock.
So here they come then. You've got not only absolute bests coming from Robert Consani and a sideways Paul Petit bounces over the curb, but Benjamin Lassen's BMW doing purples as well. Over the timing line then goes Paul Petit, goes fastest, but for how long? He does an absolute best last sector. Then Robert Consani goes quicker by 0.8 of a second. Wow. 0.891 faster. But Benjamin Lassen here in the BMW, wide up the curb, coming out of turn 16, heading towards the timing line, will break the beam, and Lassen goes second. In fact, splits the Audis. Benjamin Lassen does a lap just under 4/10 slower than Consani. So Robert Consani doing a really fine job as you look now at number 15, which is Alex Papadopoulos, winner here last year. And he's now making that push up through turn 13.
Yeah, car looking good for him at the moment. This could be a lap for the top 6. Aston Miller in 4th. He was just in front of Lassen on track. Lassen's done a purple sector 1. Papadopoulos not using much of the entry curb there. Most cars seem to be opening up the last couple of corners. He does that at the last corner at 16. Stays legal there. Consani's lap, interestingly, 3 thousandths faster than the Q1 time of Rattigan. And Papadopoulos does go top 6, 4th with that lap, 141.2.
Seeing how Gabriele Piana is getting on, 7th in the BMW, that's all, as now with a minute and a half the fast lane opens for the Pro-Ams and the AMs. Piana is a double winner here in the past, and at the moment 7th fastest, so there's more to come. Benjamin Lassen again trying to build the lap together. Absolute best first sector, personal best second sector. There is a little bit of traffic up the road though for the Grunt and Go BMW. It's the 81 McLaren, is it not, that he's going to have to think about. Aston Miller at the wheel of it. Here is Lassen then through 13 into the hairpin at 14.
Lassen's lost his previous lap, hasn't he? He's now not got a lap time, so this one needs to count. His next one will be his last. Luckily for him, it looks like this lap would have been quicker than the previous one deleted. It was that last corner, I think, he went too wide at. Looked good this time, though. Over
the timing line and goes 4th fastest, so that's good-ish, really, rather than good. I mean, it's there or thereabouts, to use that ghastly cliche that says you're sort of good, but not good enough, really. I'd have thought Lassen would have gone better than that, but maybe he was being careful just to stay within the track limits. Here is Alex Papadopoulos, only 7th at the moment with that Mercedes AMG, the American driver then now heading up towards the end of the lap. Good first sector, but he's lost quite a bit in the middle. Yeah, tyres starting to drop off. Now it's going to be close to see if he can actually squeeze another lap. He's got to get across the line in the next 10 seconds. It is really nip and tuck if he's going to get that. Does he need it? Is this lap going to be strong enough to lift him into the top 3 rows of the grid? And I think he's just going to squeeze another lap by half a second. That's very tight indeed. But he went across the line 6th fastest for Papadopoulos. And that was partly because of another lap time disallowed for Clement Seiler, the Swiss driver. Also losing a lap now, number 1, which is Michael Haverens. And on it goes. Number 12, Gabriele Piana, only 10th. Now, Piana is heading up to the end of the lap here, and he's done 2 personal bests, so there should be an improvement on the cards. Piana, massively experienced GT4 driver, specialises in BMWs. He's also on GT3 duty, so he's got a lot of mileage to do over the course of the weekend, switching from one type of car to another. And there's the checkered flag for him. So Piana 10th at the start of the lap, breaks the beam 7th, so there was an uplift, as it were, but not by much. No, the BMW struggling in the middle sector, straight line speed-wise, as everyone now pushing to the line. Consani, class of his own, pole position by over 6/10, and he did another lap that was 40.1. So he has really got that car hooked up, as we see some cars bailing on that last lap, trying to save some of the tyre life. Everybody else comes pouring over the line. Jan Duran, 8th fastest in the Toyota Supra. An improver at the end. But it's a pretty happy team speed car with a 1-2 then. And Robert Consani it is that is the fastest. And that means that it is a second pole of the season for Robert Consonny. In terms of pole positions, it's 2-0, isn't it, Roberto Benjamin-Lariche, his co-driver?
Yeah, he's doing a good job, and we thought that's what he was saying in the interlude between the two sessions. And I think the Audi just looking so strong, but that Paul Petit car, the 8 car, was a whole new car we're hearing from Spa. I'm not surprised the size of the shunt as we look at the drivers looking quite happy with themselves, and quite rightly so.
I'm still slightly mystified as to why there aren't more Audis. I mean, in fairness, we have had one extra car this year, the second speed car entry in silver of Petit and Gilbert. But considering that, okay, it's not the youngest car, but they can still deliver, why aren't more teams running them?
Yeah, the support Audi are pulling out of, I guess, is a worry for those teams, but it is a very quick car, very capable, and it always seems to be in the window, doesn't it? It's not particularly strong at anything, but it does everything so well, and that's exactly what you want from a balanced performance race car.
Yeah, it's never weak and it's never the standout, but it just delivers. Plug and play, that car. Right, the second part of the session then is already underway. You can see Joachim Bolting, you can see all these delectable Cayman 718s getting themselves together, including the car that has got the charismatic Joachim Bolting at the wheel heading the queue, and that did have an accident in testing, hence the rear not looking quite as the rest of the livery will be. I think it'll grow over the course of the weekend, but Joachim Bolting here, as ever, a man to watch. Now, pole positions in Pro-Am, we talked about Henrik Still being the man to watch. Well, in terms of the drivers on track now, keep an eye on Alberto Nasca, because he's had a couple of poles in the Lotus.
Yeah, and he's been very quick in the last few races. I feel like his form's getting better as they improve that Lotus ever more, and he's going to probably be the second most popular person here at Misano this weekend, isn't he, after Valentino Rossi, of course, racing in GT World Challenge this weekend with us.
Bit hesitant there coming out of the corner, but up towards the end of the lap comes then Joachim Bolting. Henrik Still being rather cagey about who put the car off in terms of doing the damage. It's tempting to suggest it was the AM, not the Pro, but that might be unfair. Up towards the timing line then comes Joachim Bolting. That's Alberto Nasca then. They, as a team, not just him, but Stefano D'Aste, who is our Lotus preparer, it's his company that looks after the car. They've done a really good job of turning this into a very quick car in a short space of time.
Yeah, they had that problem at Spa with it, but pace-wise, car very good as we ride on board through turn 16 this last corner. The exit is hard to keep legal. He does do that. Nasca shifting up to 4th gear on the line. What can he do lap time wise? Good enough for 16th at the moment. 42.1. Expect him to find another half a second or so.
But he is fastest in this group. So Nasca ahead of Cindy Goudet in the Toyota. That is number 7, which is now Alexander Weintraub. So it's got the transponder in the wrong place, but it is Alexander Weintraub at the wheel of number 7 going through. That was a quick car in the hands of Safronov in Q1. So overall, Consonny, Petit, Aston Miller 3rd, Benjamin Lecen 4th, Yagish Gedic 5th and 6th, Alex Papadopoulos, Piana 7th, Durant 8th, then 9th fastest. It is Mark Kastelich with the Mercedes AMG in the top 10, rounded out by Ruben Del Sart. Weintraub coming up towards the end of the lap. And as he does so, the one car we know we're not going to get anything out of is 78 Mackenzie Cresswell. The only thing that's going to save them is if others get put behind because they lose lap times.
Yeah, they're still going to be outside the top 30, aren't they? Already at this point, they're 34th. And yeah, that is going to be a brutal race too.
Yeah, they're nearly out of Misano as a town. I mean, they're that far back on the grid. Binoculars provided for the lights. So there you've got Cindy Goudet hustling on. Cindy Goudet going well here. 2nd at the moment from those cars that we've had on track within this segment of qualifying. That Toyota Supra then on the run now towards the end of the lap. Cindy, 6 times a French hill climb champion before coming into circuit racing last year in the GT4 European Series. The long-nosed Toyota Supra then heading up towards the timing line, breaks the beam, and Cindy Goudet up a couple of places then, 17th overall. The best out of this group at the minute is Anthony Debarn, a very quick AM, and his BMW ahead of Cindy Goudet. Alberto Nasca is 3rd. Here you've got number 27 Porsche then. That's the car of Alessandro Tudiska. Into the championship. Go on, sorry.
Both new drivers, the previous drivers, Dufay and Dietrich, have now stepped up to GT3, so they've done well to fill this car so efficiently, and an okay lap to go 25th overall at the moment.
And that is a sideways Anthony Debarn. Real Tokyo Drift style that, as he goes through Quechia, which is the long turn 8 corner that, as I say, just takes you up that slight rise towards 9 and 10. First part of the hairpin, then turn 10, the second element of it, but he's backed out of the lap. That's done that set of tyres no good whatsoever.
No, I don't know if the tyre had already dropped off and he was just throwing everything at it and throwing the barn door at it, trying to make a lap time stick, or is he now going to back off and go for another push? But great lap so far.
So Anthony de Barn then down to 18th overall. Now we have Thibaut Mojica, the best of the Pro-Ams, with the car being 12th overall. And the Ginetta, that is, going nicely. There it is. You can see it coming towards us. That was another car that was damaged at Spa, wasn't it? But they've done a good job to rebuild, and with good pace as well. So Mojica coming up towards the end of the lap here.
Yeah, damage was their own doing, so less sympathy needed for the 51 car. The sole Ginetta this weekend, we saw a second entry as that Toyota kicks up the gravel. Now makes a big issue for Modica, and that's the last thing you need as a driver in the final part. He's got to lunge because his next lap will be compromised if he doesn't get past the 55 Supra of Brunhagen, and that's really hurt him for 2 laps now. And the frustration will be building massively in that Ginetta, because it was still a strong lap at a 51.5. What could that have been? I think that would have been a 140. That would have put him inside the top 5 cars overall, and that is an awful turn of luck for the Ginetta.
So flag is imminent. 2 more minutes. That's all on the clock.
This BMW, just as a general conversation, not this one, but the BMW GT4, not strong in sector 2 at all. From turn 6 through to turn 10, just seems to be losing 5 to 6 tenths. And again, another lockup. We've seen 2 BMWs do that now there. So the car not looking perfect around this Misano circuit, but very strong in sector 1. And I think that must be down to the curb it can use and the low-end torque of that BMW M4 GT4.
So you're looking at the BM in the hands of senior now, Paolo Meloni, coming up towards the end of the lap. Let's get him across the line first of all. 36th he was, up to 16. That's a big improvement. Whereas Alberto Nasca did a very nice first sector, but seems to have lost a big amount of time in the middle.
Yeah, same as the BMW, isn't it? Sector 1 seems to be good. Go on board. Let's have a balance check here. Looks okay through corner exit. How does the car get in? Again, looks slightly nervous on rear. Now got to get the car over to the right. Use the bit of the curb on the right. Smash the curb on the left. Open this corner up. Straddle the curb. Not riding the apex curb well there. Straddles it nicely, Nasca here. Smash, and then don't use too much. The rear of the car giving up. I hope that was legal for him. He's pushing to the line. He's going to get one more lap. But yeah, the rear tyre definitely dropping up to 10th now for Nasca, and the fastest in Pro-Am.
So the flag has just under half a minute. You can see the clock ticking on down, 25, 24, 23 seconds as Nasca hustles on. Ajith Kumar, meanwhile, in the Porsche. He's the slowest of those that have done a time. But again, this is yet another new venue for him. He looks quick, actually, to the eye. You're on board with the Indian actor now coming up towards the timing line. Goes through, breaks the beam, and that lap for Ajith Kumar, a 45.4, I'm afraid, slightly down on what he did earlier, only by 100th, so no improvement.
Yeah, we saw this at Spa when we rode on board. He's just quite nervous with his hands. Look at all the micro adjustments he's making. He's not sure how much front end grip he's got, so he's trying to feel it through the wheel, and that naturally then unsettles the car. You want to turn in with one constant radius, bang the lock in, take the lock off, full throttle, go. And at the moment, in his infancy of his racing career, he's still trying to learn what the car is saying to him.
So we have the flag out as you ride down towards Quechia then with Ajith Kumar. Hard on the brakes, down through the gears, and this is a long left.
And he's not maximising entries either, so he needs to open these corners up. We say that a lot, and it's a bit of a throwaway comment as a racing driver. What does that mean? You open up, you try and make the angle as acute as possible so you can carry more speed, because the corner effectively isn't as sharp. And if you give a metre here, just caught the limiter as well there on an upshift, and that then hurts you all the way down this long back straight. So there's just all these little nuances of driving a race car that you have to learn, and it doesn't come overnight. And that is the most frustrating part for any successful person, and that's why AMs love motorsport. They don't understand it in a night, and that's why they come back for more.
So Ajith Kumar comes up towards the end of the lap, the end of the session. Everybody else coming over the line, taking the checkered flag. And lots of talking points, but one is the up and down fortunes of the number 78 McLaren. So research to be done over the next few hours to get to the bottom of the problem for all of us. Up towards the timing line comes Ajith Kumar. And as he goes through that lap is a 46.1, I'm afraid a little bit slower.
He has gained a position though, because
Yes.
Maloney has lost his lap to track limits. This was the board car we were on board before Kumar, running very, very wide. And this is where we saw that super kick up the gravel on the exit as well. Great super slow-mo. Non-symmetrical wheel colour, which is bad for my OCD there. And I assume they've buckled a rim in testing. I've had to just grab a black one out of their spare parts. But not a bad session from NASCAR there. It was relatively up and down, track limits lost, but ended up 15th, third in class.
As there, the field will come back towards the pit lane, including the number 20 BMW, that car in the hands of Lucas Sugliano for Q2. So it is pole position for Robert Consani, and Robert is with Alex in the pits.
Well, you're determined to extend that silver lead even more here in Misano. That was a very nice qualifying session for you. Audi's obviously feeling strong.
Yeah, I'm happy because I make the pole position, so it's the best result ever. It's the second time last year I make the pole position also. It's difficult because you start and after one lap you have the red flag and you need to be concentrated during the restart. It's not easy, but I do it. I'm happy.
How tricky will it be to convert it to a win here?
I hope score a maximum point because I play the championship and not the race, so we need to score a maximum point for keep the lead.
Good. Nicely done.
Bye-bye.
So bravo Robert Consani taking pole position in the end by over 0.6 of a second and from the sister car. So let's have a look at the order then. Robert Consani fastest for the second race of the weekend from Paul Petit, and then after the Audi 1-2 it is McLaren third, Aston Miller ahead of Benjamin Lassen's BMW, another BMW fifth of Jagish Gedik, and then sixth fastest the Mercedes of Alex Papadopoulos, going better. This seems to be a circuit that suits him. Gabriele Piana seventh from Jan Duran, another of the Mercedes AMGs next, Mark Kastelich, and then the best Aston 10th for Ruben Del Sart. Callum Davis 11th ahead of Thibaut Mojica, Clement Seiler and Michael Loboda, with Alberto Nasca 15th fastest. Thibaut Mojica quickest in Pro-Am from Loboda and then Nasca. And if you find 21st quickest BMW, you get to the best of the AMs. Anthony Debarn ahead of Philippe Talamy, and then Daniel Bickler is the third of the AMs. No time recorded by number 78, Mackenzie Cresswell, having those dramas on the outlap effectively. So that car grinding to a halt, and we'll have to start at the very back of the grid. It's going to be a difficult second race tomorrow for the Elite Motorsport team. GT4 then will race today and tomorrow, and the first race for the cars is going to be at 1:45 local time this afternoon, and then they race again tomorrow at 11:40. So daylight races for the GT4 teams. Qualifying in the GT4 European Series was always going to be busy, and with the session split to allow the Silvers the track time on their own and then the Pro-Ams and AM cars their isolated session, it was the Silvers first on track, as it was an impressive Q1 by Josh Raskin, the reigning silver champion, able to push and indeed able to make sure that that was the quickest car in the 10-minute period that was afforded to the two divisions. Also looking good, Gustavo Xavier, who was on target for a class pole position in Pro-Am. First time Hendrik Still has not been fastest. Then it was time to get a new set of boots onto the cars and get ready for the second session. It was stopped early after the McLaren of now Mackenzie Cresswell ground to a halt leaving turn 10. Others, though, were going nicely, including the Josh Dynasson and Aston Miller McLaren. But in the end, an Audi 1-2 with Robert Consani taking the top time from Greg Gilbert. The second pole of the year for the Team Speed car in the hands of Robert Consani, with Thibaut Mojica taking Pro-Am pole in the Ginetta. So the scene is set for race 1. We'll be on air at 1:45 local time with the build-up for race 1 of the GT4 European Series.
This is the drive of your dreams.
You and I, we are dreamers. You and I, we are believers.
Introducing the all-new Skoda Kailak. Own your dream.
Skoda.
My name is Sebastian Job, and I am a sim racer for Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing.
Side by side for the race leaders. Well, Sanchez shows they make contact.
My view on sim racing is that the virtual world is becoming ever closer to reality.
And Roger's going side by side.
They're able to go in and change the roll bars, the springs, the ride heights. It's becoming incredibly realistic.
Big crash at the front.
It's gone to a point where it's good enough that you can measure performance through our racing.
For the first time, a British driver wins a world championship.
Does that skill set transfer from virtuality to reality?
This is the perfect experiment to see if somebody can go from sim racing to real racing.
We'll have to see how he performs in a Porsche Supercar, Formula 4 and 3.5. Whether he has the capability and the competence to drive a Formula 1 car.
In the sim, if you go off, you just press reset. But here in real life, it's another story.
I mean, obviously there's a bit of negativity. Some people don't really believe in the transition between it.
If he doesn't succeed or show his aptitude in these cars, then there's no way that we'll let him drive a Formula 1 car.
Yeah, a little bit nervous. I've got a bit of butterflies in the stomach. I'm trying to get rid of it. Just not be too nervous about it all. But you know, that's easier said than done.
Morning, Seb. You okay?
Morning. Nice to meet you, mate.
How you doing? Nice to meet you. Okay, cool.
James Wallace is going to be my coach. He has a lot of experience in this car.
I'm the Porsche Carrera Cup junior driver, doing some coaching with Sebastian Job in the Porsche Carrera Cup GB Cup. I mean, pretty similar to your esports livery, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would need to see them side by side to spot any difference.
I'm Joe Nocton. Today I'll be working with Sebastian as his race engineer.
I don't know if I want to set too many lap time targets. Maybe a 53 would be good. Wow, yeah, that's just like on the sim version.
It's exactly on the sim, isn't it? Yeah. Do you adjust the...
James is going to warm up the car for me, dial it in.
My first lap is a reference for Seb, and my main focus is for my racing, and then help Sebastian throughout the day as much as I can.
I have driven this car at least thousands of hours on iRacing at this point. I'll be curious to see how accurate the car feels.
This is completely new to him. He's going from being a young guy in the bedroom playing on his simulator to now driving one of these cars. We're going incredibly fast.
Take steady.
I feel a bit on edge, like there's too much adrenaline. I just kind of want to get started at this point. Acceleration and the braking. When I turn in, the responsiveness is phenomenal. I think that's partly the G-force. It just pushes you into the side of the seat straight away. When I drive on the sim, I feel the rear go through the steering wheel, whereas this, I feel it in my bum. Like I feel the whole car shifting around under me.
That's so good. Give us sim racing for that. You can relax a little bit. It's alright, mate. You still got a job. Okay. How was that?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, really good. It felt very natural.
Yeah. What, just really similar to the sim sort of thing, or?
Yeah, I did have a bit of a lock-up at one point.
Yeah.
It wasn't one that I could feel so much, but I saw the light and it just stayed on. And I was like, oh my God.
We'll get you guys into debrief now. So if you go with AJ and James into the truck.
Well, that's close to the grass. I thought I might be a bit. Yeah.
That wasn't too bad, to be fair. Just probably grab a little bit more apex.
Yeah.
So that's your lap time, 1:53.420.
Yeah.
That's the lap I'm gonna compare. So I'm a bit surprised with that lap time. That's good. That means we can start working already. Overall, the whole lap, you're braking quite a lot. Let's say, like you don't need to brake that much. You need to get more confidence with the car and carry more speed into the corner.
I'm glad you said that because that was my feeling too.
Yeah, you are slowing down too much.
After every session, we had a debrief that was like super insightful. I know in sim racing what I'm looking for, but how that translates to the real car, that's another question.
Instead of having 53, let's see if we can go to 52.7.
Yeah.
For me, that would be just perfect. If you're feeling well, I think we can go again.
Okay.
So the first goal of the day was basically to start off, build up the speed, and to get used to the braking. Sebastian didn't exactly do that. He got straight into it, and this was very impressive.
Skoda.
I locked up for a good 2 seconds.
Okay.
I just couldn't get it off.
As he was exploring the limits of how hard he could brake, the fronts would lock up, and this happens quite easily even with a little bit of steering.
And then, so yeah, first half of that, just super careful on the brakes because we don't want to lock these wheels as well. Well, and wasting the other tyres, okay?
The tyres on the sim, most of it is out of your control and it's just a matter of pushing as hard as you can. Whereas here, you've got to look after the tyres. There's this whole process.
Turn 2?
I just, looped it on the exit.
Yeah, don't worry.
It should be fine, alright?
Yeah, he's just going to plug in, download the data, just make sure everything's fine with
So just switch the hazard off.
I don't know, it was just so out of nowhere, it felt like. Have you seen the video of it?
I haven't yet, no.
So that was a little bit embarrassing, but it showed that I was pushing.
Yeah, I think I have a slight double turn as well, just going in here.
but even watch it when you can see it was just a small little mistake, being a little too aggressive with the throttle. But the idea of today was to find the limits of the car and to see how much you can push.
We quickly learned what I did wrong and I made sure not to do it again, and that's the main thing.
Made a second off race pace now. 52.3.
I don't know.
No, I know.
You did that?
Yeah, so second off race pace now.
And that one?
Yeah.
So right now I am using iRacing. I'm doing some testing before Snetterton. A couple of real-life Porsche Cup drivers helped develop it, which means that right now it's probably the best reference I'll get.
It's becoming incredibly realistic. For example, the tracks, they are laser scanned, so it's many data points and very high detail. The drivers can spend hours upon hours fine-tuning the setup of the car.
The track grip levels might be better on the sim or worse on the sim, and I don't know what I should be aiming for until I drive.
And have the road a little bit later on. David
I can't get it one to
John
one.
Dynison and
But I
Aston
should
Miller.
still get a pretty good feeling
But in the
for
end,
the car.
an Audi 1-2 with Romain Grosjean taking top time from Greg Gilbert. The second pole of the year for the Team Speed
So now
car
we
in the hands of
are going to try to do a long
Timo
run.
Mojica.
That has to be
Taking
consistent
Pro-Am
so
pole
and see if we
in
can be
the
between the
Ginetta.
target for
So
Pro
the
cars.
scene is set for race 1.
Sebastian will go out and do a long run with more fuel, more weight, and here we will test his consistency. We want to see if he's able to repeat the lap times. It shows that he's able to drive the car and understand what he's actually doing.
You don't really see many people get in this car and be fast. Thought he was going to be within a second of me, but for him to be within half a second is, yeah, a bit of a shock, to be honest.
This is your lap times here. 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1.2, 1-1, 1-1.3. That's brilliant. That's okay. That could be like a P1 pace.
Really?
Yeah. I had my doubts before you came here, but so far I'm very happy, honestly.
Great.
It's a good job, really good job.
Yeah.
I've been coaching many drivers already, and yeah, impressive.
Thank you. I mean, at the start we said 153 I'd be happy with, and we did a 50.4 with race fuel, so that's way faster. For me, the highlight of the day.
I think it's very impressive. I mean, looking at these times, it's a very quick circuit and one that takes great bravery as well.
It just shows how quickly he actually got used to the car, and it was very, very positive.
I've always been one of those guys who believes in those sim racers who come through. I think today's taught him a lot, and I think he can take that going forward into the next test.
Those cars are going to be a lot more intense physically. That's my biggest worry.
To be able to adapt from a GT car to a single-seater and will be fascinating to see.
Like, this is serious shit.
It would be a great shame to have this amazing opportunity but not be able to make the most of it by simply not being fit enough.
The physical aspect is arguably the biggest challenge.
If you're not fit, forget it. Stay at home. Formula One is the pinnacle of the motorsport. Every race